Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Small Business Social Sunday. Don't mind us; we were chatting in the beginning, so that's why we're all giddy and happy because we're just catching up.
Yes.
So, you're not new to this, but welcome to all of you that tune in every Sunday as I highlight and showcase the wonderful people that I know, sorority sisters, friends, family, that have amazing businesses. Big, small, but girl, it's a business. I don't even know why we say small business.
I know.
So you're running a whole business. So let me just take the time to introduce our next guest, our next boss, Daniela. She has I think the name says it all. So tell me the name of your business.
My name of my business is called Pawtanicals.
Pawtanicals.
Yes.
So for those in the audience, can you guess what that is? Let me know in the comments, but we'll get into it. Yeah. So what is your business, Daniela?
So I run a self-service pet spa located in North Bergen. It's a very different salon from, the typical grooming. It's a niche a salon, I would like to say, that, caters to people that need grooming in the sense of not hair cutting or not hairstyling. We focus on skin issues with a lot of pets, which has been an integral part of the reason why I opened the business. And, just basic nail cutting, different ear cleanings. But the main big one is the skin issue solution that we have brought to the tri-state area.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I've seen you grow and really research and find the best products for our furry pets.
Yep.
Is it just dogs, cats, or what's the predominant demographic?
It's
or pet.
Right. So it's just focused on dogs. Okay. I used to do cats. I used to wash the cats with the special machine that we do offer for the skin issues, but it gets very, very dangerous. Cats are not, they don't like to do anything with water. They self-groom. So we had to stop that. And we just focus on dogs. And we work with a lot of rescues now to help any dog that's having skin issues so that they can get adopted faster, because unfortunately they stay in the system, if you like to call it, for a very long time because people are scared of the skin issues that they're coming with.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is such a heartfelt contribution and service that you're providing to the community, specifically for the shelters, because that makes perfect sense. And for the people that are listening, Daniela has the Pawtanical, and it's a DIY, come in, you wash your pet, and like you said, the specific issues of skin and stuff, you specialize in that.
Right.
But not every dog comes in with skin issues. Some people just come in and you know what? I don't want to wash my dog in my house. I love this spa day. I'm already taking them out for a walk.
Yeah.
And I love that service specifically in, the Bergen County area. Yeah. So definitely. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, we had to, I know one of the questions is coming up about the pandemic, but we had to pivot our services right away because we started just as self-service. It was only the client coming in, washing their own dog. We provided everything they needed.
Right.
Our motto became, you leave the mess with us so you don't have to pick it up, But with the pandemic, I had to think quick on my toes, because if I didn't, we would have gone under, because nobody was coming in during the pandemic. No one was coming out. And it's reasonably, understandably, right, why they weren't coming out. But it was causing my business to suffer. So I had to pivot those services. I quickly took on online classes to learn how to wash a dog. How to do, the simple things, not like a full groom, but be able to know how to wash the dog, be able to know how to clip nails, and just be able to, provide that service, and people would come in and drop off their dog, obviously with the protocols in set.
Yes.
But if I didn't do that, we would have been under. We would have been one of those casualty businesses that would have failed for sure. 100%.
Well, I'm so glad that you pivoted so quickly and figured out how to meet the customers where they're at during
a hard time.
A pandemic. Yeah.
Like, it was incredible how everybody just decided to work with us in that sense, because a lot of people are like, well, I need the service. I can't let it go. Like, can you figure it out? And then, in a week I was like, no, that's it. Like, we're doing it. I can't.
Like, we'll wash your dog. You bring it in. We'll tell you what time to pick it up.
Exactly.
Almost like you would do when you're taking your dog to groom.
Right.
It'll be like you drop it off.
Exactly.
We'll call you when she's ready, or your pet is ready.
Yep.
And so you kind of did the same thing, but like just washing. Technically providing all the services except for cutting their hair.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And then so now we've gotten a lot of within the pet community, I've noticed there's two types of pet communities, right? One that loves the convenience of dropping off their dog, us washing them and getting them groomed. And then the other one is they want hands-on. They want to do everything with their dog, which is wonderful because it's a different type of aspect that a lot of people don't talk about. So being able to bring those two together in an area where we are is, amazing. It's been a really gratifying, very satisfying process in the whole thing.
Yes. So I'm assuming now you have both services available. That hasn't changed.
That has not
changed. That just opens another.
That's just another level. That it allowed me to get employees. Like, it brought me to the point of the level of employees. Like, I can hire employees. I know.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. Thank you so much. So,
oh my God.
That has been the accomplishment. I know one of the other questions. I know I'm jumping. Jumping around, girl.
I know, because I give all my hosts the questions on time. In advance, so she knows what I was going to ask. So she's hitting those topics. I'm listening, girl. I'm about to grab my tea. So go.
Yeah. So one of the greatest accomplishments was to always get it to the point where it's I think of it as a baby, right? At the beginning, I had to teach it how to walk. I had to teach it how to talk. I had to do everything for it. Now I'm trying to get to the level where I can actually just oversee it a little bit. Obviously, I'm part of it. Obviously, I'm going to be very involved in it. But now I can kind of delegate a little bit better, learn how to navigate the employee world, which, I've always been on the employee side of things because I used to be in corporate America. So I kind of know that side very well. So now this whole me being the boss, me paying them has been a very eye-opening experience.
Right.
So it's been one of those accomplishments that I'm very happy to say that it's going well, little by little. I don't have a big staff. But I
was going to ask you, how many people did you hire? Yeah. And the good thing is that now you can like go on vacation without having to close your shop.
Right.
Like, it can kind of, run itself.
Yes. It's the biggest side of fresh air. Like, oh my God, like I can actually do that now. But right now I have one part-time and one full-time. And then I'm thinking I'm going to try to bring in another part-time, but, we got to see if it works out, because when I hire people, right, I tell them exactly what it is that they're going to do. I don't sugarcoat it. I tell them the nasty, the good, the great, the adorable. And a lot of people they often think that working with animals is very easy. And once they're in the trenches, basically, forget it. They're like, oh, this is not for me. And so it's a quick turnaround.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So
are they pet lovers? Is that like question number one?
Yeah.
Like, do you own a pet?
Yes.
Are you a pet lover? Because I feel like you have to. Okay.
Yes, that's the number one thing I gotta ask them. Good. Like, do you have a dog? Do you walk your dog? Do you take care of your dog, or does your mom take care of your dog? Because it's a huge indication of how you are going to be with your other people's dogs. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's the number one question. Like, no.
I think it's a pet lover's or dog lover's dream come true. I would love to do that. I'm just thinking, I just would love to do that.
Yeah.
It just seems like a very rewarding
job. It's very rewarding, 100%. It's physically demanding. It's very labor intensive that I can see that. I didn't expect that. You're lifting up 50-pound dogs like every day.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that you would have muscles. Sometimes, now I'm wearing a belt in my back. So just to make sure that I don't mess up my back.
Right.
So it's a lot of things that go with it. And especially now that I have employees, I have to be extremely careful and be able to give them a health workplace. so they don't feel too, because working with an animal, you never know how they're going to act.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, because even though like I seen like, on your Instagram, which will provide all the details in the description, and you guys you can follow Daniela Pawtanicals. I'll have that in the description. But I've seen like your layout, and it's so like beautiful and like open, and the aesthetic is like very welcome. It's almost like you're prepping to go into like a spa.
Yes,
but obviously for a dog.
Right.
But I can see where like it can be labor intensive, because sometimes dogs don't want to do, or pets don't want to do what you want them to. So it requires a little muscle.
Yes. And sometimes you're waking up very good, you're great, and then all of a sudden the dog's trying to bite you. Like, it changes the dynamic of the day.
Yeah,
so
right.
You gotta have to understand that not everything is rainbows and butterflies in the pet industry. Yeah, but thank you. Yeah, I made it specifically open. When I made the establishment, like, I made sure that I had an open space where people could see everything that I'm doing, everything, all the time, because
there's no closed doors, there's no walls up. It's
nothing.
Like
I did that on purpose, because I've had horrible grooming experiences in the past with my family dogs. I've heard horrible stories, unfortunately, and not to downplay the groomers. They have a specific reason why they're doing it, because they're using very sharp objects, and I totally understand that if Fido is looking at you and all of a sudden the client walks in, the parent, they're gonna go crazy, and then you have a sharp object. It's totally understandable. It's based on safety. But I also brought in my idea of like, yes, you can do safety with the parent, because the parent also has to learn how to be safety and has to learn this education about the grooming, because if you don't teach them, they're going to still have the mentality like, okay, I'm just going to drop them off. I can't see what they're doing. And so for me, it was like, no. It's all about education in my place. Like, I will teach, whether you want to receive it or not, I will give you the information to be better pet parent.
And I think that's so important, especially for first-time pet parents.
100%.
This is a new journey, dog mom, dog dad, whatever. Like, this is a new journey. This is your first time. Like, especially, like, you grew up with a dog.
Right.
I'm assuming you did, I did.
Yeah.
And that's one different thing. Your parents kind of did everything. You just walked them and fed him.
And you just, like, pet him. You loved him, and that was it. Yeah.
Now, as you're an adult, it's your dog. You got the vet, the bill, all that is your responsibility. Right. It's a whole nother level of like education.
And during the pandemic, the level of adoption went up the roof. There was so many dogs that got adopted, which is wonderful, right? But I kind of already started seeing, once the pandemic started coming down, like, the more precaution was being lifted out. A lot of dogs went back to the shelters. Yeah. It's very sad. But during that time when people were calling us, when you talk to me, like, we're going to talk for like about 30, 40 minutes on the phone, because you're asking me questions and nobody's giving you the answers. And yes, granted, you can Google, but if you have somebody that is passionate and is going to give you those resources right away, you're going to kind of be like, all right, I need to hear and listen to what they're saying, because they're going to help me out. And I feel also that there's a gap in the grooming world. There's some amazing groomers out there, but they don't take it to the next level where I want to take it, where I want to know your dog, and I want to be able to help you understand why your dog is doing what, instead of me just trying to take your money. It was never about that. It's always,
my God.
Yeah, it was always
that's
about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And like, that's, that was it. It is, and it will always be my mission to really help anybody that needs to learn about dogs.
So you hear that? There's a lot. Are you hosting a webinar anytime soon? I think that's next. I think that's next.
I think so too. Actually, I've been trying to do something for new coming puppies. Like a lot of people have been asking me all these questions. I think I'm gonna make it. And then I'll let you know.
I think so. Yes, and we'll come back and see how that is going and stuff like that. So going back to the beginning, what even inspired this idea? Like, where did this come from?
Okay, so I always try to figure it out too.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. Yeah.
This question is kind of difficult to answer because I think it was a combination of so many things. So back in college, you know, my dad, my mom were always very supportive of whatever I took. But I was the type, I'm very into astrology. So I'm very of a Pisces. I'm a dreamer. So I always wanted to do everything. If you talk to me about journalism, I would be so intrigued about journalism that I wanted to become a journalist. If you talk to me about being a psychologist, I would want to be that. So it was always like, I never had something specific, but I knew I wanted to do something for myself. That I knew. I needed, you know, I saw my dad being an entrepreneur he came to America when I was 5 years old. So he's an immigrant. So he started doing, you know, all the jobs that nobody wanted to take, but he did it. And then he became an entrepreneur. He was able to get his license. He became a doctor. Like I saw him go through all of that. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, maybe that's something that I want to do, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. But I knew I wanted to be my own boss. I just didn't know it. I just didn't know it at that time. And so coming and like, you know, I did everything. I did cancer research because I graduated with a biology degree. I did cancer research.
Hey, good girl. You know, I'm just saying.
Just throwing my flowers in there. You know, I
get it, girl.
So I started doing cancer research. I loved it, but at that age, it was too much death around me.
Right out of college?
Yeah.
Right out of college?
Right out of college. You know, like I'm young. I want to enjoy it. And I'm, you know, working with women that are passing away, unfortunately, because they're at the last level of the research. You know, like it was too intense for me. I did not like it. I was like, this is not
too emotionally. Yeah.
And I'm a Pisces. So I'm an empath. Empath to the 10th level. I couldn't do it. So I definitely, you know, I was like, okay, thank you so much. I love this experience. I took a lot from it. Let me go to the next thing. I did administrative work with my sister who opened her own dental clinic when she graduated. So I was like, all right, then see my
it's in y'all blood.
Yeah. So then I saw my sister, but I didn't know it at that time.
Right.
So I kept jumping. So I did that with a few years with my sister. And then I wanted to do fashion. I went into fashion PR. I did it for a couple of years. It wasn't for me. It wasn't
I always loved how you dress. Like always. Always. From the moments I met you always look cute. I'm just throwing it in there.
Thank you. I strive.
Yes.
Thank you. That's such a huge compliment. But yeah, you see, like I wanted to do fashion. So I experimented. I was like, let me try. So I did that for a couple of years. It wasn't for me. And during that time is when I started walking dogs just because I needed extra income. And I did it because it was easy. It was on my time. I like dogs. Like I didn't think I had a passion for dogs, but I just liked it and I tried it. And and so little by little I started like figuring like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of fun. There's like doing that on my time, getting my exercise in. I'm working with dogs more than I'm working with people.
Believe me, I feel you on that. Like if I'm watching a video of whatever and it regards it like it involves a pet, like I'm all tuned in. I can scroll past all the people and as soon as it's a pet, I'm like, I mean, I get cute. He's doing that, you know.
Yeah. So that was just like literally something that was just filling a void. And I didn't realize it until my sister and I, we got a dog. His name was Tank. One of our friends was telling me that the dad was going to put him in the shelter. And if I wanted one, I was like, oh yeah, like I didn't think twice. I was like, yeah, sure. Like I'll take care of him. But when I got him, he was completely out of it. Like he was really overweight. He was, you know, he had systemic like infections, like all his systems in his body were inflamed. Like he was a hot mess. Like, oh, you touched him, you felt the grease on the top. It was just so sad. Like, yeah. So then I was like, yeah. And then I was like, okay, there has to be something that we can do. I went back to the veterinarian. We were trying to figure it out, but nothing was really helping. And one day I remember just seeing somebody making soap for humans. And I was like, what if I make a soap for Tank? Like, you know, those like DIY.
Your aha moment. Yeah.
Right. My aha moment. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I can do that too. Like, while I'm walking the dogs, maybe I can advertise my soaps to the people that I'm walking the dogs to. Right?
Yes.
But at this point, it was just a thought.
Still not clicking.
Not clicking, girl. I was like, hello.
Yeah.
but then little by little, I started seeing that people were really liking the soaps that I was making. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna, oh, sorry. I didn't know if I could
It's
say
okay.
that. I was like, F it. I want to try to see if I can sell it at a market somewhere. Like just sit there, I've seen people be vendors. Like we've done vending because we know this from our sorority, how to do that.
Yes.
Like, you know, I was like, yo, I can do this. Like, all right, let me try it. I did it in dead of winter down the shore. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Ooh.
And then I sold out one of my soaps, and I was like, that's
you
when,
sold out, girl?
Yes.
Yes.
But at that point, I was like, oh my God, there's something that I have that I can provide, but I was still not confident in it because obviously you're like, oh my God, is this really something to leave my 9 to 5? Is this something that I can do it? So I kept doing it on the side where it became to the point where I couldn't do it in the side anymore. I couldn't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It comes to the point where like I had to also rip the Band-Aid. And it also has to do with my support system. I always say, like, you need a solid support that's going to push you to be like, yo, if this is what you really want, I got you. Like, let's do it. You're going to put your 100% into it. Let's go. Like, I'll support you. I'll do it. And that was my husband, Eric. Like, he was like, listen, like, if this is something you really want to do, like, don't worry about the bills. Like, he's like, we'll figure it out as we go along. Yeah. And you'll figure it out. You won't be just sitting there hoping that the money's going to come down. Like, you're going to work really hard to pay the bill. Like, you know, whatever bill we were sharing at that moment. So that was when I was like, okay, this is something I'm going to just do. And I quit. I quit my 9 to 5 with so much fear, Yamada. Like, it was just, oh my God.
I can only imagine. That's the biggest risk. I think the next phase of being an entrepreneur is like when your side hustle now becomes like, this is my full time. Right. Like, there's nothing, you know, you're like, what do I fall back on? Like, what do I do? Exactly. So I can understand your fear. So, you know, it's very relevant. Yes. It's very relevant and real. And I'm just glad because you got to bet on you. Yeah. So you did that.
Oh my God. And that's
with the support.
Right. And that's the biggest, and it's the biggest fear of your life, right? Because you're so used to having something every 2 weeks, right? You're in your hand or in your bank account, you see it, and now it's not going to be there. But I think it's also the confidence that it built in you to be like, no, like if I put 95 to 100% of myself in that job, why can't I put it 95 to 110% of my job? Yes. And the way that you do it, the way that you present yourself about it, people will understand. People will respect the hustle, will respect the work ethic that you have. So it's always going to come, no matter how hard you try to be like, no, it's maybe if I stay one more time here until I really have this, like it'll happen. Like if you don't do it, if you don't jump that ledge, you're always going to be constantly like back and forth into it. Right.
And that's why I really love like the spirit of like an entrepreneur is because one, we're constantly problem solving and we're constantly innovating. It's never a bored moment. No. And, you know, and I think that's what happens in like our, 9 to 5 is like, we know what's going to happen. We know when it's peak season. We know when it's slow. You know, we're just like, an auto mode. Yes. Like it's just yeah, you're a robot. But that doesn't bring you're a robot. It's no excitement, no like not that it's not fulfilling. You get your paycheck, which is nice. Yeah. But and then also it's like, let's say you're at a salary. Boom, that's what you're making a year. Right. You gotta kind of revolve your life around like this, $70,000 $1,000 salary. But when you're an entrepreneur, you can elevate every year. Like I'm going to innovate. I'm going to do this. There is no salary cap. Your salary is what your mind evolves and innovates to. So I love that fact that you don't have, like you can do and make however much you want. Yeah. Even if money is not even a concept, but the fact that you can just constantly innovate. I like that. I like the creativity part of entrepreneurship.
It's the freedom that it allows you to become very creative because now you're betting on yourself. Now your family is depending on you. And now your children are looking at you like, damn, my mom did that. Like, oh, like, damn, like, all right. If she did it like that, that's how I see my parents. That's how I see my sister. Like, yo, they did that. And for me, it's like, why can't I? You know what I mean? So it's definitely the freedom that you get. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I have days that I cry sometimes that I'm like, why did I do this? Like, I just
because everything's on me.
Exactly.
When they Google Pawtanicals, Daniela and her husband Eric, like there's no going back. CEO.
You're right. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, why did I do this? But then it just like it hits like they need like the freedom. Like let's be real. I don't want to be stuck. I can literally stop what I'm doing, give it to my employee, and I can go and handle other business. Like there's no like I have to wait till 5:00 to ring out and then go somewhere else. It's just that freedom that you get. It's just incredible. And I always say, like, if it's not for entrepreneurs, not for everybody, and that's okay. I have I've seen that like a lot of people are like, oh, entrepreneur this, and like if it's not for you, that's great. Like you have your set ways, your set, life. 100% support you in that. But then when it's very lonely, I have a friend who also is an entrepreneur, and we're always talking about it could be a very lonely place. Because you do have friends that are entrepreneurs, but they're going through it that sometimes you forget to ask, like, hey, are you okay?
Right. You guys are just constantly problem solving.
Yes,
burning out fires, this and that. And then you guys are like, oh, but we forgot. Like, this is what's going on, and check in on each other. How are you doing? How are you feeling and stuff like that?
Yeah, as women of color, as Latinas, like we've always often because we've come from such a strong, like we see our mothers being so strong, right, and like not showing any defeat because they've been so on top of trying resilient. Yeah. We feel like we can be like that sometimes. And sometimes we need the help, or we need that comfort. Like, okay, we're okay. Like somebody's going to be there. So I think it's also the hardworking resilience in us Latinas that sometimes we just go so hard that we forget to sometimes just breathe.
Take a break, ask for help, go on vacation, let somebody handle it. Yeah. We don't know how to do that. Exactly. So let me ask you, what is your day-to-day like? Like what is...
So my day-to-day is pretty, right now it's like a seesaw. Sometimes, so Mondays and Tuesdays we're closed. So this is the time where I work on the back end of the shop. I I run the bills, I run payroll, I do everything that needs to be done on my end. And then I try to have my self-care days.
Good.
I try to remember okay, Danny, take a break. You can do this on Wednesday when you open back up, or you can people call me and leave me messages like, Danny, you'll get to it. And then once we open, it's nonstop. We see about how many people? Between 10 to maybe 15 clients a day.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very busy. So sometimes
Is it by appointment? Is it walk-ins?
Yeah, it's by appointment only.
Okay.
I made sure that was the one thing that I was changing also when the pandemic hit, because a lot of people were just after the pandemic were trying to just walk in and it was too overwhelming. Not even for us, it was for the dogs. When you put a lot of dogs together, they can either really have a lot of good times or they can get into really bad, positions.
Makes sense.
So
yes,
it was getting that to that point where we were like, okay, let's just have everybody come in at their own specific time. We're very strict with timing because we know. And I try to leave by 5:30. I always said to myself, even to my employees, we have to leave by 5:30. You guys have, I always remind them, you guys have a life outside of this. I don't want to make you feel like you're so obligated to be here that you're going to hate it, you're going to resent it, and you're going to leave.
Right. Right. That was something that when I was interviewing Naisha, she was saying that too. You don't want to resent your job or your business, where you're constantly doing it all the time. So you have to set boundaries, even though that's your baby, it's your livelihood. Yeah. You still got to set boundaries for your mental health.
Yeah. And then
separation.
And it took 4 years to take this where it started to where it's now. So now I feel like I can breathe a little bit better and take those boundaries, because before, to be honest with you, I was no, I was like a horse, straight looking at what I wanted to happen. And then I wasn't taking any breaks. It was affecting me. It was getting to a point where I was becoming, I was like, do I really want to do, do I really truly want to do this? So I think it's very important. So, going back to the day to day, Monday and Tuesday we're off. Wednesday through Sunday, I'm at work. If I can take time to go see my mom and do anything like with my family, I try to do that as much as I can. But sometimes I'm at the shop all day.
Right. So how long have you been established? Like, when did you open your doors? Like, what was that process like of like, okay, I know this is what I want to do. Now I need to find a storefront, a location. Like, so now I got to get contractors.
So I officially opened Pawtanicals back in 2014 under a different name. It was called Laundromat. And
okay. I don't remember that name.
No, yeah. It's so funny because I wanted to patent it and trademark it, but unfortunately somebody already had done it. So I know.
Darn it.
So I had to go back to the drawing board. So in 2014, I opened it up under Laundromat. And then 4 years later, in 2018, I took the risk and I decided to do it full throttle. And so I knew I had to change the name because it wasn't just going to be able to thrive under that other name, because somebody might come in and be like, this is my business. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was a nightmare in itself.
I
had to get lawyers. I had to like give up on that name, and it was just try to come with
that
a
was
new
probably right.
Yeah.
Right.
So did that. And then in 2014, I was I was still at the PR of the company, but I was already kind of exiting my way out. And I started walking dogs around my neighborhood, and I came upon this brick and mortar that was up for lease. And I saw it that before it was a grooming spot. So I'm like, oh, it's a grooming spot. Like I can maybe, do something with it. But I kept going back in it. Like it was like a couple of months before I like took the trigger, and I was like, all right, let me do this. Let me just talk to the owner and see what he wants for rent, and like try to figure out if I can make the rent for that place plus my rent in my apartment. Like,
right. Because as an entrepreneur, you're paying for two spaces.
Basically. And then if the way that I wanted it, the construction, is it going to be enough, or it because you're, as a woman, unfortunately, construction is in like, contractors, they will take advantage of you. Unfortunately, that is the truth of it. So I had my dad and my husband come and be like, listen, like, this is what I want. Are they telling you what they're asking? Because they're giving me a different quote. Like, it was a back-to-back. Like, you have to do your research in that, especially if you're a woman. Make sure that you have somebody in your corner that's going to help you. That's unfortunately a male in that sense, because they're going to take advantage of you. They're going to see you like, oh, she doesn't know anything.
No, right. Like, we don't know how much materials cost and stuff like that.
And as much as you do the research and as much as you become very knowledgeable of it, unfortunately, it's just a genetic thing. Like, you're a woman,
the nature
and that's
of
the nature of the beast. Like, you can argue with me about it, but I've seen it so many times with so many different people. So how
long did construction start? Oh my God. And stuff?
So that was another thing, because I had to recut the whole thing. It was recutting it, and it was going to take like 2 months, but it took May, June, July. Yeah, it took 3 months. And then at that time, you're not open, but you're still paying rent. So, it's one of those things that people don't think about. Like, you still have to pay rent every month. You still have to pay the bills, the utilities for that one space that you're not even using at that point.
Wow.
Yeah. So, finally, like, I was trying to like push it. I was like, let's do this. Like, hurry up. Like, let's do this. Like, it was just a desperation because I'm like, I need to make money. I need to pay these bills without me like bending my back over.
Right. So how were you, not to get too much into your personal, so how were you making it like those paying both? Were you still doing your like dog walking vendor of the soap?
Oh my God,
stuff?
This is where I always say, this is where your support system comes in, because one, my husband was helping me as well. Two, my sister believed in I had to present my sister with a business plan and tell her like, this is what I want. This is what my vision is. And like, she was like, all right, I'll help you with that. So she came in and she's been helping me with that financially. She's
awesome.
Yeah, she's like my angel investor. I always say she has 1/3 of Pawtanicals in her name because she's the one that, you know, helped me start it all, and I'm very proud of that because my sister was able to do that. You know what I mean?
She did that.
She
right.
did that. Like she helped me with that. So in a way, like, you know, it was very business transaction-y. Like it was very weird to have my sister, like, for us to be like very business-like, but it helped me understand the business aspect of financials in your business.
Right. Because she had that experience.
Yeah. And she wanted me to go through that experience with her, even if she was my sister. She's like, no, you're gonna treat me like we're in the business, like we're in
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And at the same time,
it was pretty cool. But it was really hard also because, you know, I'm so used to talking to my sisters, like, whatever, like, what's up? What are you doing? Like, what's your day like? Like, you know, like, and now it's like, hey, do you have time? Can you can you schedule me for this meeting? Can you do this? So it was very different. But then I was also working, you know, nonstop, walking dogs from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., trying to keep that money, you know, coming and flowing. I was still selling soaps. I was still trying during the weekends. I would go in marketplaces and try to outsell my soaps. Like it was a constant thing. It wasn't like, oh, I had money or it was given to me. It was like, no, I had to work for that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how it started. And then, you know, once we opened in July. So we got the lease in May and we opened in July.
Nice.
Yeah. So we were like, I was on it. We were hounding it to everybody. And then
marketing. Like the good thing is that 3-month period, I'm pretty sure you're promoting, you're marketing, social media to build up the hype. So when doors open, you know, you have customers waiting for you.
But the funny thing is, Yamara, literally I opened the doors and nobody was coming in.
No.
Yeah, because it's such a different, the business model is very different. People don't know about self-service, right? The idea of self-service, it's like, what? I have my own like bathroom to do that in. Like I don't need a service for that.
I can see where that can be a concern. Like, are people gonna believe in this or understand this concept?
So it was incredible how people were coming in and they're like, what is this? Like, are you a groomer? Are you not a groomer? How are you going to explain yourself? And like, that's another way of like, that was another, like, you know, point in my life where like, oh, how do I explain people what this is? Right. Because not a lot of people are going to want to pay me a certain amount so that they can do it themselves. That's when I started learning about how the pet industry is and how there's two different types of parents. One that likes the you know, washing, the convenience. The other one loves to do it, to deal with it. So now I knew, okay, now I have to pivot my services and like tell them about the self-service, like the people that love to do it themselves. I have to find a marketing strategy for them. I have to find a marketing strategy to get the convenience people to try it out,
to convert.
So the first year was very difficult. It was just educating. People would come in, we would just tell them because they never heard of it. The only time they heard of it was from this Canadian wholesale marketplace. It's called it was called Pet Value. I don't know if you've heard of it. 365 retail stores. They had in service, they had self-service like tubs, but that was the extent of it. So I would have to kind of compare myself to them, which is great because I was comparing to my 365 store chain, like a huge company, versus me just like, hey, I'm here. Hi. Like, I'm a small business.
You had like a similarity, like in comparison to this, like this is what we offer and even better benefits because you have like organic. Like I know you really
I took my time.
Research.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very different. So then we had to tell them the difference between that. And so that was, the first year was very difficult. I was very much in a panic mode. I was still walking dogs. I was still trying to sell my soaps just because I wasn't meeting the expectations that I had given myself. And then I had my sister who invested in it. Like, you want to see numbers, like you want to see
be on the plus,
in the green, not in the negative. And so it took a while. And so second year, That was 2018, 2019. We were doing a lot better. A lot more people were coming in the door. So we were slowly climbing up, and then the pandemic hit.
Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and
right.
that's where I was like, oh my God, if I don't do, because this is a brand new idea that I'm bringing to Hudson County and this tri-state area, New York City, all this, because they have it in the West Coast. It's really well known in the West Coast, but in the East Coast, not a lot of people have it. Not a lot of people put on it because, but then if you think about it, everybody's living in a small apartment with no room.
That's what I'm thinking.
And
right.
Exactly. That was my thought process. I was like, yo, there's so many
I'm here
people.
with you. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
But then people are like, no, if I can just drop them off. So then that was the issue. So, the pandemic hit. I took a class. I learned how to wash dogs. I started like telling everybody, like, you want me to wash your dog? I'll wash your dog. Every single client that came in, even for the self-service, they're like, no, Danny, like, don't worry. Like, I want to do it. Like, I know you want to do it, but I can't let you do it. So let's go. Like, I'll do it, your dog. And then the quality that I give, and the service that I give has spoiled my clients to the point that now they request me to wash the dog.
Not your other employees.
Right. And it's like, no, seriously, they're great. I train them the same way.
Right. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I will be hands-on. I know you will be hands-on, but if you could just like take a step back and you have employees to do that, like
that's the goal.
The whole concept.
Right. That's the whole goal. So I try to, now my goal is like to train my employees to know the quality, to know how I do things so that it can be mimicked, so that my clients don't feel like, yo, was this Danny or was this somebody else? Like, no, this was Pawtanicals in general. You know what I mean? So
yes, like I know Pawtanicals quality is not a specific person.
Exactly.
I get you.
So that's the quality over quantity. It's always been like that.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I am so happy to have had you and had this conversation and really hear like your journey from start to finish. And you're not finished. No, I'm just saying like from the concept in your head to really like starting with your soaps and starting just from dog walking to begin with, then saying, I think I can do that. That's my thing right now. Like during the pandemic, TikTok made me think I can do a lot of things.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because I saw
many. A lot of people downgrade TikTok, but TikTok has changed my life too. Like it literally revolutionized the way that people are thinking. And a lot of people, there's horrible things on TikTok. There's stupid things on TikTok.
Addicting.
Yeah, it's very, me too, girl. I could scroll for hours.
But we learning stuff.
Yes. I've learned so many life hacks that, oh my God, have changed my life. Literally. Yes. And now I'm like, I didn't know that was possible. And then there's some amazing people on there that life coaches,
the community,
different types of people that you need that they will give you information. Obviously, you have to filter it. You have to know who, you got to research too if you're trying to do something, but the resources are there. And I always say TikTok has changed my life too, because it has helped me try to figure out how to be in the now and get people, like, how do you get people's like to notice you and like do all that stuff. So it's.
Do you have a TikTok?
Yes.
Yes.
We have it.
Awesome.
We have it.
The Botanicals.
Nice. Yeah. As soon as it came out, girl, I was like, nobody's taking my name.
Good. That's business 101.
Yeah, business 101.
Have it on all your platforms, even if you don't use it, your Twitter, all that. Everything. I learned that.
Yes.
Like, make sure. There's a couple more platforms that have to play my name.
And even on your website, I learned this the hard way, but like if you're going to do a website and you want the .com, you need to get all the versions of your name. Botanical, Botanicals, Potans, or anything like that, because that, people can be, some people unfortunately are not happy with the way that you're winning, so they're trying to do everything impossible to see you fail. So people find different ways to try to, manipulate your business or give you a bad name, give you a bad review, give you this and that. So you have to be prepared for that in all fronts, in everything.
Right. Well, that reminds me that I haven't done that, but by the time this airs, I will.
Good for you.
Claim Hey Me, because I looked at Hey Me, because that's like, I'm saying like it's me season. That's the whole concept of the name. But Hey Me is already like a thing. So I was like Googling it. I know we're wrapping up, but now I have to tell this story. So
tell me, I was like,
So I was like looking it up for like, hey me, you know, for the email, the domain, and it was already taken. I was like, darn, all right. So then I was like, okay, let's request to see how much it costs. Cause sometimes it can not be that crazy.
Right.
Girl, it was like $2,000.
Yeah.
I was like,
there's some that go up to 45.
Let me go back.
Yeah, there's some that go up to $45,000 to just get the domain name. Yep.
I was like, let me add some numbers because, and then I'll go with that.
Yeah, it's insane. So, yeah. It's really crazy.
Yes. So, okay. So now we're going to wrap up.
Yes.
So tell me as we wrap up, what's next for Pawtanicals? What do we have in the works? Is there any, you know, something you're looking forward to? Like, what do you got?
You know, I'm looking forward to really establish this location and get it working with my employees, setting my employees to be great. I always say to anybody that's listening, you got to treat your customers like gold, but your employees platinum, because they're the ones that are turning the wheels. They're the ones that are helping you make this success and become better version of yourself. So you got to treat them the same way. So that's my goal right now, to focus on my girls, and make sure that they get what they need, they deserve, they get paid what they need and they deserve, but also help me succeed. And then once I have that established, my goal is to set up another botanical somewhere else.
I'm so hopeful. Yes, we are. It's a non-factor. It's happening.
It's happening. I don't know when, but it's there, and it's I see it. It's in my vision. Like, I see another one opening, and hopefully down the line I will be able to open one again, another one. So yeah, that's right now. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I know, but I know you can do it. If you made one happen, you can make two, and then so on and so forth. I know it's gonna happen. I like the way you're so passionate about it, and the concept is just makes sense. Yeah. Especially like in you know, not to tell all your secrets, but I just feel like if I'm understanding you correctly, it just makes sense to have it in like city urban areas. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like the target people or locations to have it, because you're already like an apartment, you know, whatever your setup is. It just makes sense to, like, you're already going to be out walking your dog, so on and so forth. It's just, I feel like it's also therapeutic. Yes. Like, if I'm going in there to watch my dog and it's just me and my dog.
Yeah, we're not bothering you. You're doing your own thing. Like, you take your time. You think about your problems. I think about the problems over there, and we're good to go. You know what I mean?
I love it. I am so excited and happy. I cannot wait to see, you know, Pawtanicals 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, all up and down the East Coast.
Thank you, my love.
That's national. You know, I love it. I love
so
it.
much.
You can come to Pennsylvania. You know, I'm just saying.
I didn't know that you were in Pennsylvania.
Yes, I'm in the boonies of Pennsylvania.
It's okay. It's nice and quiet. It's peaceful. Enjoy it, girl.
It is. But, you know, I keep up with everybody on social media. Awesome. So I'm always rooting for my friends, my family, my sorority sisters, people I care about. Yeah, you know,
likewise.
I just want us to win. I know we all have it in us to win.
Yes, 100%.
And to live our dreams.
Thank you. Yeah, and you're doing a fantastic job, too. Can I just say, take this moment to tell you that your TikToks, your funny TikToks, you doing these interviews, it was meant for you, because you've always had that gravitas to that energy that people want to talk to you. People want to laugh with you. Like I said, your energy is the best. And thank you
Don't get me all emotional.
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me in this podcast. You know, I know it's going to be a huge podcast down the road. I know you're working really hard to innovate it and make it more creative. So kudos to you too. You know, it's really hard. It's really hard. Radio or podcasting is extremely difficult. So you're doing it with such ease and grace. So I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much. I know we got all mushy on you guys, but we haven't seen each other or talked to each other in a long time. Guys, it's been
too many years.
So, you know, don't mind us. It's a reunion too.
I know. It really is. But I need to have a reunion with you, like physically, like
in person,
hugging you and like talking and just reminiscing about everything that we've gone through.
I agree. We will talk about that off air.
Yes.
In the meantime, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Small Business Social Sundays. All of Daniela's, information for Pawtanical will be in the description. So you'll be able to find her Instagram, her website, her TikTok, all that good stuff. So stay tuned and see you next week. Bye.